Hi everyone, welcome to Diamond Delight Edibles. My name is Liz if this is the first time you stop by, and for the rest of you guys, welcome back. So today, what do I have for you? York Peppermint Patties. That's right, Canna, York Peppermint Patties. Whoop whoop. So check these out. Looks just like the real thing, and oh my gosh, these taste amazing. So let's jump right into those ingredients, what the equipment that you're going to need to get them made, and show you how to make them. All right, let's get started. All right, so let's jump into those ingredients for our Canna York Peppermint Patties. Woo! So what we're going to need is 2 cups of powdered sugar or confectionery sugar, 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup of tincture. That's totally up to you. 1 tablespoon of milk, 2 tablespoons of shortening. You can also use 2 tablespoons of butter or 2 tablespoons of canna butter, but realizing that's going to affect your taste slightly, but again, that's totally up to you. With the peppermint, it's pretty strong, so if you want to go with 2 tablespoons of canna butter, albeit. So we're going to use about 1/4 teaspoon of peppermint extract, 2 tablespoons of light corn syrup, or you can use glucose syrup or inverted sugar that you can make on your own. And you're going to want about 2 cups of dark chocolate. So today, because my apartment is too warm to temper chocolate, I'm going to be using candy melts. And with the dark chocolate candy melts, if you've noticed, they don't really taste like dark chocolate. They don't really taste like chocolate at all. What you can do is you can get these, it's a pure cocoa paste. It's actually called cocoa liqueur wafers, and it's 100% pure cocoa. They're very strong and very bitter. So what you can do is just add 1 to 2 of these chips into your candy melts, and it'll make it taste like chocolate. But you don't want to go too much, like I said, because they're very strong and very bitter. So that's what I'm going to do to my candy melts to make them taste more like a dark chocolate. Oh, those little tips and tricks. All right, so that's it for our ingredients. For our equipment, what we're going to need is a rolling pin, a hand or a stand mixer, a sifter or a strainer, a couple of spatulas, this type of spatula as well, strainer, a bowl, dipping tool. So I've got the fork dipping tool, or you can just use a regular fork. I got these silver candy wraps to wrap them up with, or you can just use tin foil. You're going to want cutters, so I've got a larger size for the larger size peppermint and the smaller one. So I'm going to do the 2 sizes. You're going to want parchment paper and a rack. And you might need one of these, but you probably not, maybe not. I just have one just in case, because usually I forget stuff. But I think that's it for the equipment. Like I said, I usually always forget something, but I'll let you know along the way. So let's jump in and let's get these made. All right, so for my first step, I'm going to take my powdered sugar, dump her in the bowl, and then I'm going to grab my tincture and pour her in. Ooh. I'm going to pour in a little bit at a time, and I'm going to whisk that around, get it mixed in. I also use my fingers to make sure it gets blended, because it'll lump up. That's why we're going to use the sifter or your strainer. So we're gonna have to dehydrate this for a little bit in our oven to dry off the alcohol. So preheat your oven to 175 degrees Fahrenheit. No more than 200. I know some ovens don't go quite that low, but you need it to be at least 175 to evaporate alcohol. If you have a gas oven or stove, do not do this. Let it just air dry. It won't take as long as regular sugar. So, oopsie, my bad. The one thing that we're going to need is a parch lined baking sheet or a pan so that we can evaporate the alcohol off of our sugar. Now, if you were using a half a cup of tincture, I would recommend to do this in 2 stages, because with a half a cup, it will probably make your sugar too wet. So take your sugar, put her on the cookie sheet, just spread her out. We're going to pop this into the oven, probably about 15-20 minutes for it to evaporate. So you want to make sure to keep your oven door slightly open. And that's so that the fumes do not accumulate in your oven and we don't go boom, and it allows more airflow. If you have a gas oven, please do not do this. Allow it to evaporate, air dry. It will take longer, but this way you're not going to go boom, because we don't want anybody going boom. So I'm going to let that dry out, and then we'll be back on to the next stage. All right, so once your sugar's all dry, you want to take it out of your oven and let it cool completely. We're going to need a second bowl. That other thing I forgot to tell you. Ooh. So what you do, take your parchment paper, make it easy, use it as a funnel. Into your strainer, and start sifting that through. Oh, fun, fun. Those hand sifters are much easier. Burp, burp, burp. So we're going to do this 2 or 3 times. So we want it nice and smooth. Make sure there's no lumps in our sugar. So you want to use a whisk to work those lumps through, because those are what are holding our tincture. So you want to make sure to get those broken up and work through. You can also run it through your food processor or blender. Mine are both broken, so by hand it is. I'm going to go for my second bowl and do that again. Now that we've got our infused powdered sugar, we are going to add in our ingredients. So we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of our light corn syrup. Our shortening, or as I said, you can use canna butter. Our milk. And I'm going to start with just a 1/4 teaspoon of our peppermint extract. If I need to add a little bit more, I can, but as you always say, you can add more, but you can't take it out. You get our mixer, and you want to go on low. So what can happen is if your sugar is not completely cooled to room temperature, your sugar can melt. So I didn't realize mine was still a little bit warm, and it kind of melted all there. So to fix this, I need to add in a bunch more powdered sugar. So please make sure that your sugar is fully cooled. Once it gets to a dough-like, a Play-Doh-like texture, we're going to take it out of the bowl and we're going to knead it. Knead it up for a little bit. Ooh, it smells very pepperminty. So I'm just going to give that a little taste. Yep, that's good. So the 1/4 teaspoon seems to be a nice amount. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some extra powdered sugar here onto my workstation, and we're just going to knead this. We're going to knead our peppermint fondant. And once your fondant here is all nice and smooth, we're going to wrap that up and we're going to put it into the fridge for about a ½ an hour to set up. So you want to make sure to firmly wrap it up and make sure that there's no air is getting to it, because it'll dry out. I'm going to double wrap it. Okay, so I'm going to pop that into the fridge for about a ½ an hour, And then we're going to come out, roll these out, and get them going. All right, so our peppermint fondant has been chilling like a villain in the fridge, and we're ready to roll it out. So you want to get 2 pieces of parchment paper, and then you want to line your rack. Whoop! Slippery little suckers. And we want to roll this out to 1/4 inch thick. Kind of holding onto the parchment paper with my stomach here. Now, because your fondant here isn't going to be that nice pure white, because it has like a little bit of green tinge from our tincture or from your cannabutter, you can either add just a couple of drops of green food coloring to make it like a minty green color, or you could add another color if you like, or just leave it as is, which is what I'm doing. I'm just going to let it go au natural. Oh, you kite the workout. Well, my skinny little arms don't take much. Get my cutters ready. There we go. Nice 1/4 inch. Don't fall. Peel her back. And then you can take your cutters and start cutting some out. I'll do some larger ones. And do some smaller ones. And then you can just use your spatula here, scoop them up, and drop them onto your parchline rack here. Now, if it's too soft, to work with right now, you can put them back in the fridge for about 10 minutes to let them firm up. I'm going to take that and I'm going to rewrap it and throw it back in the fridge for a little bit just to firm that up and roll out the rest of them. And I'll throw those into the fridge meanwhile and let them chill. And if they did come a little bit wonky, oops, you can take your cutter to reshape them. Here we go, and I'm just going to throw some plastic wrap over those. And I'm just going to put those in the fridge and put the rest of that in the fridge. And let that chill up and finish cutting those out. Alright, so I've got all my little guys cut out. Just going to take a piece of saran wrap or plastic wrap. Cover over the top of them. And I'm going to pop these into the freezer for 10 minutes. And while those are just chilling up in the freezer there, I'm going to go ahead and melt my chocolate. So you can either melt your chocolate over a double boiler. Make sure that your water is not touching the bottom of your bowl, and do it on low heat. Make sure that stays really low because your chocolate can burn, even if it's a candy melt, can burn very easily. However, my favorite method is just doing it in the microwave. So I do it, my first interval, I do it 30 seconds, mix it up, then do 20 seconds, and then finish out at 10 seconds and 7 seconds until everything is completely melted. So I'm going to go ahead and do that while my stuff's chilling, and be right back. Alright, so the patties are all nice and firmed up, so I'm just going to slip them off of here. Put a new piece of parchment paper down on my rack. And then we're going to take one of our little patties and plop her in the chocolate. Give her a little dip around. And then you want to just shake off the excess. Here, I'll move. And then onto your parchment paper again. Oh, and then if you want to get that design across the top, just take your fork and once it starts to stiffen up a little bit, that one already froze up. I'll wait till that stiffens up just a little bit. I'm just going to finish dunking my little patties into my chocolate, and then we'll just finish up. And if you find that your candy's sticking too much to your fork, just make sure to clean it off really well, because the sugar and the chocolate, they may start to stick. So now that they're all dipped, I'm going to pop them in the fridge for about 10 minutes, and then they'll be good to give her a try. All right, so they're nice and chilled. So pick them up, and you can see they got a little bit of mess on the side. What you can just do is either just kind of break it off, or just take a knife, a nice sharp paring knife, and you can just edge it off. Look at that. It looks just like a York Peppermint Patty. Ooh, let's see how they taste. If I'd have shook off a lot more of the excess, they wouldn't be so messy. But I get impatient. Now that I've got them all cleaned up, I'm going to wrap them up. Listen, I got these little wrappers here. They're just foil wrappers, cut into nice little squares for you, and just like wrapping little gifts. There you have it, your little peppermint patties. Isn't that adorable? I love when a plan comes together. So the little squares are just really good for the little ones. If you're making larger ones, you're going to need to get the larger ones. Then from our larger ones, I have these thin tin foil sheets. I got them, I can't even remember where I got them, but they're just nice. They're just a larger cut square tin foil for your larger ones. You might need to cut those down. They're a little big. Yeah, I cut off about 1/3 of them for the larger size. And there you are, they're good to go. Now, let's give one a try. Ooh, tastes just like a peppermint patty. Oh, that's so good. Just get my knife here so I can cut one open and show you what it looks like on the inside. Check it out. Just like the real thing. Ooh! All right, guys, so thank you so much. That's everything for our Canna Peppermint Patties. I hope you enjoyed this video. And as always, I'd love to hear from you. Leave your questions or comments below. And, oh, also, share. If you like this video, share. Share it all over the world. It really helps me out if you guys share my videos. So, once again, thank you so much for joining me today. You guys have an awesome rest of your day. Bye.